When it comes to my reviews of video games, I judge them for what they are and not for what they are not. Cyberpunk 2077 isn't the shitty executives who mismanaged production of this game. Cyberpunk 2077 isn't the shitty executives who knew Cyberpunk 2077 was a disaster on base consoles and decided to release it anyways. Not only without a warning, but used corporate stronghold tactics to keep reviewers from showing or even talking about how bad the game ran. No. Instead, Cyberpunk 2077 is made up of artists, programmers, developers, testers, writers, visionaries, and gamers. So my focus is going to be on that, because not only is that fair, but it's the right thing to do. First, I want to concentrate on the missed opportunities. But that being said, by the end you'll find that I like this game very much. I come into this review with knowledge of the lore in which this game is based on, the world of Cyberpunk created by Mike Pondsmith through R. Talsorian Games. So knowing this was a blessing and a curse. When I see these themes, names, locations, they instantly take me back to the lore, and my mind fills in the blanks, and vice versa. The lore in the game starts to fill in the blanks I didn't know, and that's probably why I ended up falling in love with Cyberpunk 2077, besides its flaws, and believe me, it has flaws. This game is not perfect by any means. It has bugs, and it crashes a lot. I played it on the Xbox One X, and it must have crashed at least 25 times, almost every time I play actually. I don't mind bugs in video games so long as they're not game breaking. I find them interesting. The computer is basically trying to produce an outcome, but it's confused. Anomalies in the system. Here I have finger guns, and it's actually quite funny.
No, not again!
I'ma fucking wipe you!
Here I took a picture with a dead man with one arm. I mean, I love this stuff. Crashes, on the other hand, really suck. Especially when you lose progress and have to reload. But other than coming across a side mission where I couldn't pick up a briefcase to proceed, I had no game-breaking problem. The police system is a joke in this game. First, they don't drive, which only highlights the lacking NPC driving system. Cars appear and disappear. They stop for no reason, congesting traffic. Lights in the distance are only a mirage. Still, at least there's a functioning AI for cars, so there's a purpose at the very least. When it comes to the police, when you commit a crime, they instantly pop up right behind you. If the crime is severe, they pop up in full force. But if you want to escape, it's as simple as just running across the corner. A few seconds later, I guess the cops go on a donor break. There's no APBs, no wanted list, no fines, nothing. Nothing but stars that fade away with the quickness. Given the world of Cyberpunk and how Night City is populated with crime, not having an active police system is a huge missed opportunity. I can't say enough about this, but I have to move on. The public NPC system is also lacking attention to detail. Most of the people you come across are repeats, lack personality, have no daily routine. They don't really cook, they don't really sell stuff, they're pretty much just there for window dressing. Though sometimes you do come across colorful individuals. Too bad you can't interact with them, not even in conversation. Even though it has bugs, it crashes, and is lacking systems in the game, the biggest missed opportunity is the way CD Projekt Red decided to shape the game. The structure and fundamental design didn't take advantage of the world they were blessed with. Classes, characters, corporations, weapons, story, and lore was already baked in when they were awarded with the franchise. Half the work was already done, and they kinda squandered it. Cyberpunk 2077 is not an RPG. Not in the sense where you can determine your own outcome. This game is as much an RPG as Assassin's Creed is. The truth is, they're just open world action games with unlockable upgrades and loot to find, when it should have been something else. The world of Cyberpunk 2077 was begging to be a class-based RPG, where you go through the game as a specialized class with unlockables, side missions, and endings exclusive to that class. For example, when playing the game as a netrunner, you were specialized in stealth, quick hacks, viruses, and chip upgrades to get through the game, not guns. and that expertise would be completely different than, say, a solo class, where you would specialize in brute force, heavy guns, and explosions. Instead, you get a mosh posh of them all, and most likely would just go with what's the quickest, and that's going in guns blazing, ignoring the rest. If not class-based, then faction-based, where you as V can join factions in the game the way you can in the Elder Scrolls series, so you can learn more about the classes, corporations, and their interests beyond the main story. Instead, you're given 3 different life paths to choose from: Nomad, Street Kids, or Corporal. Life paths that don't really matter in the end. You do get alternative dialogue options at times that may come in handy in conversation, but other than that, nada. The journey to the ending will always be pointing forward regardless of which character and missions you choose to prioritize, and I think that's probably Cyberpunk 2077's biggest flaw. It could have been much more, and it didn't live up to its potential. Still, given all that, I still love the game for what it gave me. It gave me a great story, believable characters, fun missions, and Cyberpunk 2077 is faithful to the lore of Cyberpunk. Even though it doesn't include everything the world has to offer, it still touches on familiar themes within the game. For example, the outrageous for-profit system for essential care, where only the wealthy and the well-connected are treated with dignity when it comes to all aspects in life such as healthcare, security, and other basic needs. To the little things like how there's no wildlife in Night City anymore, so when this cat kept appearing, I found it unusual. That was until I googled the Japanese word bakaneko mentioned in the game. Then I understood that this cat was a warning of things to come when it came to my story and the way it would unfold. The story of Cyberpunk 2077 follows that of Johnny Silverhand's epic battle between Arasaka Corporation and your fate being intertwined in the history between both. When you take a job to steal a experimental chip from Arasaka Corporation. Along the way you meet a class of great characters from different factions. Some you can build relationships with, and others are strictly business and professional. But sometimes those lines intertwine, like when I unexpectedly sparked a sexual relationship with Meredith, a ruthless corporal who works for Militech. Definitely ruthless, considering she's ghosting my cause now. I also met awesome characters like Panam, who is a nomad that has a clan that lives beyond the lights of Night City and instead calls the outskirts home. Through your side quests with her, you'll build an unbreakable bond, once you're able to crack through her stubbornness, that is. You also meet Judy, a techie, who regardless of her cautiousness falls in love with those who end up breaking her heart in the end. And the list goes on. There's Jackie, a street kid and your best chum. There's Victor, your ripper doc and father figure. Misty, a tarot card reader who's like a sister to you. Goro, head of security for Saburo Arasaka, who turns out to be an unlikely ally. Besides the main missions and side missions, you'll find memorable characters and scenarios through the gigs and odd jobs you take, as new cast of characters are introduced to you as you proceed with the game. Some can be annoying, interrupting you while on mission, but still, these activities are a welcome distraction to partake in. Some are more memorable, leaving lasting impressions like Joshua, who I literally nailed to the cross, or meeting a ripper doc that goes by the name Fingers. He was just my type of creep. However, the delivery of these missions could have been handled better. You don't naturally meet a lot of these characters or fixers that give you these jobs. Either you access them through your phone, or you come across them naturally while wandering around the world through prompts on your phone, letting you know a mission is nearby. Upgrading your character consists of different traits like tech, cool, intelligence, body, reflexes, and they break down even further into specific traits beyond those, so you have different paths to upgrade your character. Upgrading these help you with hacking, unlocking doors, shooting, and other characteristics. But honestly, just using the weapons you find will get you to the game just fine. I found it's best to use your points on tech, body, and intelligence, because those help you get through locked doors and passageways, and that's usually where you find the best loot, Easter egg, and weird scenarios. Plus, I hate missing out on content because of a game mechanic such as locked doors. I also recommend using experience points on quick hacking and breach control in the intelligence tab. It not only helps you hacking computers, electronics, and wall safes, But together with the right combination of mods attached to your operating system, you'll be a force to be reckoned with as a netrunner as well. So you don't necessarily have to rely on guns all the time to complete your mission. You can also go to Ripper docks that implant cybernetics like double jump or spring jump, which I recommend, stronger skeleton, better operating systems, and other body modifications. Again, they don't really matter, not because they're not handy, it's just that throughout most of the game they're not accessible. Either you can't afford them or you don't have powerful enough stats to use them. It wasn't until I was in the final parts of the game when my character really started to feel the way I wanted her to. Even now I still have second-rate cybernetics. Why I can't see in the dark is beyond me. That being said, I now feel like a formidable force when it comes to battle. I'm able to make enemies commit suicide, fry their operating systems so they become unconscious, and disrupt powerful netrunners with cyberware malfunctions, stopping those with quick reflexes in their tracks, making them easier to take out. And when all out fails and shit is the fan, I can run and make a quick escape. Activities vary to corporate theft, hit jobs racing, tracking down rogue AI taxis, and fighting other types of random crime, and I had fun completing most of them regardless of length, because there was always lore to explore, clothes to collect, and guns to upgrade if you're into that, which I was. I enjoy getting the better sniper, sidearm, helmet, and the list goes on. A lot of my time now is spent riding my motorcycle, taking in the sights, taking pictures with the locals, getting into gunfights with thugs, and robbing them of their clothes. And you can find some pretty weird stuff, like this reoccurring theme of cyberpsychosis, which may imply there might be a serial killer on the loose. Or not, it just may be referring to the activities you partake in the game, but it still gives you a sense of other dangers in Night City, and maybe things to come. I have a feeling that there was much more to this game, and things just went horribly wrong beyond the launch disaster. I think Cyberpunk 2077 was conceived as something else, but instead we got this. As of writing this review, I'm about 100 hours in, and I still have side missions and gigs to complete. I still haven't bought all the cars, and I wonder how I could even afford them given how expensive everything is, but I know it's possible to do without cheating. I haven't even gone into the crafting system, mostly because the weapons I had were awesome, and I didn't have the blueprints for legendaries until now. I'll still find myself playing this game until I finish every mission, and have nothing else to see. I'll be buying the DLC that will eventually come down the road. Still, I wish there was more to do. Even though I enjoyed my time in Night City, not everyone is going to appreciate the lore like I did. They're gonna know nothing about the characters and the themes. They're only gonna know what is presented in front of them, and that's definitely a mixed bag. On the other hand, you actually might be a little bit more forgiving of the mechanics and the way they're presented. If you like action games like Assassin's Creed and want to try that out in a futuristic city that isn't really futuristic at all, then you'll have a good time. I did, and it was far from the game I expected or was hoping for. In the end, I give Cyberpunk 2077 a 7 out of 10. Regardless of the bugs and crashes, regardless of the game design, I still enjoyed my time with Cyberpunk 2077. And in the end, that's all that really matters. Now let's see if I can find a mod that lets me see in the dark.